Hello and welcome to the first ever video on DeDubs Plays. We're going to be doing a Let's Play in Cities Skylines. As you can see, I'm on the Xbox One and I have all of the DLC installed. So let's get into it. A new game, new map. I am going to choose the As You Golf from the Sunset Harbour DLC as our map for the city. There's a few nice big sandy beaches on here, so I'm going to go for a really original name and we're going to call it Sandy Shores. There we go. Being that I live in the UK, I always play with left-hand traffic on just because that's what I'm used to, so we're going to select that. And we are going to switch on the unlimited oil and ore. The oil and ore runs out so quickly, and for a let's play I want to be able to build the industrial areas and then move on to the next thing and not have to worry about whether they've still got ore or not. I normally play with mods. Well, they're called mods, they're assets. I normally play with assets, but I'm not sure if they're available on all platforms, so I decided that for this let's play I'm going to play without them, which is going to be really weird for me because I'm so used to playing with those buildings, decorating my skyline. So let's take a look at our starting time. As you can see, we've got a highway connection that comes in from over that direction. There is a highway just over there, and I think next to that patch of farmable land on the peninsula, I think I want to connect up to the highway around about there. So we're going to build off in this direction, probably running parallel to this beach here, and then at a later point we'll connect up over there. We also have some nice ore in this starting tile as well, which is handy for getting our industries sorted out quite early. Lots of forestry as well. As you can see, lots of patches of farmable land. There are some oil patches scattered about as well, but I think we are going to be using some of this oil over here. A nice opportunity for an offshore oil rig. But without further ado, let's get started. So, I forgot to pause the game. Always one of the first things you should do. As soon as you start placing things, you have to pay a monthly upkeep, and we don't want to be spending money before we've got tax income. So I think we're going to run along around about here, try to keep it roughly parallel to the beach. That looks about there. Go a little bit further, and we're going to put in a nice curve. Meet up with the road here. I'm only going to connect the one for the time being. Again, we don't want to waste money that we haven't got to begin with. Now I've got some ideas about what I'm going to do down here, but I want to unlock the landscaping tools first. So we're going to start off by building up in this direction. We're going to need to leave a nice bit of space for a junction and an interchange. So we're going to need to put an interchange around here somewhere, I think. So for the time being, we'll come off about here. We'll leave plenty of space so that we can put in our interchange and put in a new road into this area once that's up and running. So the ore industry or resource is all of this darker soil. So it starts around here. I think I'm going to want to run an industry area in that direction. So we're going to come out a little bit further. We're going to run industry off in that direction. And we're going to start off with some suburban housing area over here. So we'll start off with a nice simple grid. I like to leave a space in between so that I can run paths once we've unlocked them. So we'll just do 2 little grids for the time being. Let's take that out. Up to there. And then we'll go from here into that direction. Okay, this should be good to get us started. Right, obviously we need some power and some water. So we're going to start off with the water pump just over here. We're going to do our sewage with the inland sewage plant. Let's get it just over here so the pollution should be out of range. And we're going to use a power plant. I know some people prefer to use the wind turbines early game, but I just think the cost of the coal power plant isn't that significant, and the amount of power it generates is worth the cost in the early game. Obviously we'll replace it with something a lot cleaner later on, but yeah, early game I'm quite happy to just stick a coal power plant in there. Let's get the piping hooked up. Oh, there we go. So those together. Now, I'm starting off going under the road there, but that's not how I normally do it. I normally go for efficiency. Just so happens that going under the road matches the efficiency at the moment. But as soon as the roads start changing directions, you'll notice that my pipes do not. Some people get really wound up by that, but yeah, for me, I'm just happy to have it. You never look at the pipes except when you're placing them, so I'm happy for them to just be in the most efficient layout that I can manage. Right, let's move the power line down to there. I think that should be close enough. We'll run a power line over here just in case. And that should be fine. And then we are going to plop in some low density residential. And I like to draw them out into nice neat little squares. It's just so that you get more consistency with the size of your grower balls. It's like all of these grower balls that are going to pop in along this side are going to be 4x4s. I'm not going to get any odd 2x2s and 3x2s, things like that spawning in. Right, so I think I might time lapse this now. I'm just going to sit here and wait a little bit, fill in some more residential, and let people come into the city. So we've just let the low density residential fill out, put a few bits of commercial in there. Now we're going to need to extend this road a little bit and put in a small industrial area. So I think we're going to start by taking these power lines out. Just pause the game as we do this. And then we want to extend the road here. Really go out. Not that far. I always delete the trees because they don't actually delete when you put a road or something over the top of them. They still count towards your tree count. And on console, because we can't overlap as well as you can on PC, they can often prevent you from placing decorations alongside your roads because you're overlapping a tree that you can't see. Which can be quite frustrating, but yeah, it's good practice to just remove the trees that are underneath where you want to build. Again, I'm leaving that gap in the middle there so I can put a path through the middle of that. And I'll bear in mind where this road junction is because that's probably a good place to slot a footpath in. So as I'm drawing in these plots, I'm thinking we are coming up to the road, so we're going to put an extra space in there for a footpath to run through. Do 3x3s at the end, 3x4s at the end. There we go. And I'll mirror that on this side because the path can run straight the way across. Having walkabilities options and cycling options in your city doesn't make a big difference in the early game like now, but as the city grows it will make such a huge difference to the amount of traffic that's on the road, so it's always worth planning that in from the start. So let's play again. Let's have that industrial come in. This is probably about as big as I'll make a generic industry area. It's much better to have multiple small industrial areas scattered around your city than to have one large industrial area because they just generate so much traffic. Yeah, so we'll probably end up moving this anyway and making sure it's got easier connections to highways and things. Oh, I forgot to put the water in. See, here's where you start noticing the way that I do my piping, because this is nowhere near under the roads, but it is efficient. Okay, let's I think we'll jump back in once we've we'll just keep pushing this population up and meeting the needs, and I'll cut back in once we hit the milestone at 400 population, which won't be long. Okay, and here we are, we've hit Little Hamlet, so now we can change our taxes, we can take a loan, we've got the garbage, healthcare and education services available, and that means we've unlocked landfill site, medical clinic, elementary school, recycling centre, community school. We can also do campus areas, although I think that's probably a bit too soon to be thinking about a campus. So, let's slow the game down. One of the most important things to get in really early is the school. Education just profits your city in the long term. So I think we'll start off with just basic school building, and we want to give it a little bit of prominence. So I haven't got any parks or anything yet, so we're just going to create a little larger spot for it to come out. Yeah, I'm going to go there to there, and then we'll put our high school in right there. I don't know if I've got enough space to put a little park on the back of it. Could do a custom park once I've unlocked the parks and landscaping tools. But yeah, we've given it a little bit of prominence, a little bit of space of its own to make it stand out, make it a bit more distinctive, and we'll fill that out with some decoration once we are able to do so. And then we'll just follow our grid and hopefully get rid of that derpiness. It does annoy me when you get these little tiles that don't fill out properly. Sometimes just redrawing it will fix it just like that. Okay. Let's get another little residential section. We also want to have a look at our taxes. We could take taxes up to 12% without residents complaining about them being too high. So that'll give us a little bit more income. We are already into a positive income anyway, but always helps to have a little bit more. And our residents are going to start complaining about trash soon, so we need to put in a waste disposal. Just checking that those trees are far enough back. I might just do a little bit more pruning. So pop that in just there. That will take care of our trash needs. There we go. Somebody complaining about the trash already. That's quite a nice little house. Some of these are the generic low density houses, and some of them I think are awful. They look really ugly. I don't like them at all. I think these ones are actually from the Art Deco pack. Some of the Art Deco stuff looks really good. Some of it, these might look good if you kind of deliberately picked them, had a nice row of them. But yeah, they don't mix well with the other houses. And I think I will at some point come back and tidy up some of these. Some of them I like. That's only a level 1. It's quite a nice looking house. So what you can do if you like the asset that's grown in is you can mark it as historical. That will allow it to continue to level up, but it won't change its appearance. I don't use this set of houses very often. I usually go for either the self-sufficient housing or the European suburbia housing, low density. And I may change this all in a bit, or I may just go through it and look for some of the assets that I actually like the look of and get picky with them. Can be a bit time consuming waiting for the asset that you want to spawn in, but the effect ends up being much better. But it's not something I'm going to do right now. Right now I just want to punch through the milestones. The key one for me is getting to landscaping, because that unlocks all of the trees and things, so you can start decorating places and making things look better. And I've got some ideas about what to do down here as well, which is going to require some terrain leveling. So yeah, I just kind of want to push on through to hit the milestones for now. Got to think about where we're going to build next, because we're definitely going to need to increase the size of our suburb here. This suburb as well may end up getting moved. I quite often decide that I don't like where the first suburb ended up being once the city starts to develop, and I just end up removing it or changing it. So at the moment this is purely to try and get through the milestones and get things unlocked so we can get a bit more creative with how we lay things out. Anyway, I think I'm going to try and get up to the next milestone, and then I think we'll call it an episode. And the next episode we can work on some of the plans I have for that beach area. I think we should be able to get to the population milestone. That allows me to do some landscaping. I think this is going to look quite nice. This is going to be my first definitely permanent area once I start working on it. But yeah, we need to unlock some things before we can start doing that. We've also got to build a highway junction in here, highway interchange, so that's going to be in one of the first few episodes as well. But again, it requires a few things to be unlocked, namely the highway roads. So yeah, we're just going to keep on pushing through. So here we are at the second milestone, Worthy Village, and we can now open a new area. Got a few district specialisations and service policies available now. We've got our emergency services, police department, and we can start putting in unique buildings. And we can also do the first two industry specialisations. We can put self-sufficient buildings in now, which is a style that I actually quite like, and we can put in the organic and local produce, which is again quite nice for the low density commercial. and then we've got a few policies and a couple of buildings. So what we're going to do is we are going, you can see we've got a reasonably good income at the moment, so we are going to put in some of the service buildings. And that's going to include the medical clinic that we unlocked at our last milestone as well. So put a service buildings area. Let's do, no, let's go closer to here so that it reaches. Yeah. So I like to try and give them their own space. Try and give them their own space in there. Set them apart. So they don't just blend in with everything else. Smack bang in the middle. We can add some. We could actually add a car park next to each of these. There's a way to do that with the local and organic produce policy. We need to put some water in. Yeah, I'm going to put some car parks in there, but I'll do that next episode. I think for now we'll call this a day. We've got a nice little beginning, nice little suburb starting out. Something to work from, and we've got a nice positive income as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.